You guys like my mic? It's really bad and you're gonna have to listen to it for a little while. Before we get into it, I would like to say, yeah, the game's obviously in beta and most of the problems I'll be mentioning will probably be fixed. I can't discuss details of the closed technical alpha phase as the NDA is still active. The best I can do is make a big general statement, which is there are some issues that have been fixed since the CTA and some that have not. There are also some new issues. I know I'm tiptoeing quite a bit, but there isn't a lot of leeway with this. You'll just have to deal with some ambiguity. I'm only commenting on the current state of the game. Again, this is in the beta testing stage, but it is not free from criticism. First, the things I appreciate. The sound design is impeccable and the core game mechanics are solid, which is what we'd expect from a New World interactive game. There is some dissent in the community about movement, namely aiming, feeling floaty, or like the mouse smoothing is on indefinitely. You can disable mouse smoothing in the config file. Here's that. It departs slightly from the crisp twitch shooting that we know and love, but I believe tweaks will be made. Overall, it feels pretty good. Rhombuses. Boy, do I love shapes. Most players in the tactical shooter milsim community enjoy minimal HUD for maximum immersion and a hardcore experience. Squad, Escape from Tarkov, Postscriptum, Rising Storm, etc. It's part of why we play these games, but this game, like Insurgency, isn't paced the same. The movement is quicker, the firefights are faster, and the distance of engagements on average is shorter. TKs prior to enabling team indicators to be seen through walls were exceedingly frequent, and the participants in the CTA were mostly seasoned Insurgency players. Fuck. Sorry. Friendly. Character customization makes it difficult to memorize uniforms, and the commonplace of close quarters combat minimizes the time you are willing to spend processing that kind of information. We'll see how it plays out, but I think it was a smart implementation. Something I'm less worried about, but it is in the negative category. If you're curious, I am having performance issues. Here are my specs. I'm on mostly low settings and I get anywhere from 25 to 60 frames per second. I am capped at 60. It's not something I'm terribly worried about. I did see they are releasing a hotfix today regarding LODs and character animations not updating behind objects. Now for things that do worry me a little bit. Roll caps. I think there's too much variety for the sake of nothing. 15 of the 16 slots are unique class slots, meaning if so desired, only one player would have to take the grunt slot. I think the Breacher and Commander class cap should be decreased by 1 when scaled with the game, because the class caps I believe do scale with the amount of players in the game. The Advisor class should lose the respective Marksman rifle, SVD and the M14 EBR I think, and it should be merged with Rifleman. The Advisor class has no real purpose other than cool guns, and there's no necessity for 2 commanders. Less needless variety, and the basic bitch class actually gets used. See Rising Storm. Comms! VoIP's more or less useless right now. Proximity chat doesn't work, and team radio cuts out constantly.
You're breaking up, other guy. Dude, you are breaking up hella bad, dude. Whoever is talking right now, you are breaking up really bad. Like 70% of what you're saying cannot be heard.
The dev team is very aware. They'll fix it, I'm sure, but it only worries me since we're fairly close to release. Feels like something that should have been dealt with at this point. Character voices. I do realize this is in the Middle East, and the security forces are presumably a mixed bunch of Kurds and US forces. At least that's what it was with the story mode. I don't know if the lore carries on for multiplayer. But some of the screams and clamor of the security forces are the same lines used by the insurgent forces. Even with team indicators, it makes it needlessly more confusing to distinguish friend from foe. Especially since sound plays a large part in locating points or people of interest. Chat log, it's not a big deal. I complained about minimalism before, but the chat log is distracting. I just get rid of the big ugly scroll bar on the right side of it, and bada bing, bada boom, you're good to go. I would also prefer it at the bottom left, but maybe there's a HUD option I've neglected to see. I don't understand why I can't shoot through this. Seemingly I can be shot at through it, so let me shoot my enemies. If it is in fact bulletproof and I'm just dumb, that's fine, but either way I'd like to shoot through it or hit a button and slide the window down. That's a joke. But still, I have RPG'd an entire truck of teammates assuming I could break the class. Obviously, I was wrong. Spawn reload animations. Wow, they sure look cool, but they're annoying as shit. Look how long this takes. Please remove this. I don't like it. If the requirement to do so is disabled upon leaving spawn, that would be great. More often than not, I'm stuck reloading a secondary in the middle of a combat zone, which is not a convenient thing to have to do. Restricted areas. They are not defined on the map as far as I can tell, and as far as I can tell, it's right in front of me and there's nothing else to it. There should be a defined area. Again, I know we're hardcore players, we don't like help, but I can't see where I can and can't go. It gets me killed pretty frequently. those are some of the bigger problems I have right now. Here's a couple more bugs I'll throw up there because they happened. Yeah, if you feel like discussing something, go for it. If you feel like calling me a shithead and I should kill myself, go for it.